Guys, this video is sponsored by Bardia Helmy at Premier Fight Picks. Bardia is a top combat sports handicapper and analyst with a 70% winning record, publicly tracked over 3 years. If you like to bet on fights and you're looking for a little help in picking winners, visit PremierFightPicks.com to subscribe. With UFC Fight Night and Mayweather versus Paul both going down this weekend, it's a perfect time to sign up. Bardia is offering a special weekly subscription for only $49.99, which not only gets you all of his bets and analysis for those two events, but also next weekend's Bellator 260 and UFC 263. Follow Bardia on Instagram at Premier Fight Picks, where he gives out free bets and analysis. He will be giving away a free 1-year subscription worth $999.99 to a randomly selected follower on June 9th at 12 p.m. Pacific. So make sure to jump on Instagram and give his page a follow. T. Wood taking on Jake Paul. Apparently, not only does Chael have a track record for not knowing who's going to win a fight, apparently you can add not knowing who is going to fight. But I got to tell you this, kidding aside, I'm in. I'm into it. But I'm also into Paul, right? Paul won me over. Won me over right here in front of you guys. Realized he's a real guy. Him saying that he will go out and fight the best fighters available, and then him signing a contract to take on a future Hall of Famer, totally different deal. I mean, it's a totally different deal. Here's what I would encourage this fight to have. For me, the fan, and I think we're all probably going to watch anyway, but let's get our anticipation up, right? There's fights that we've watched, but then there's fights that we really want to see. Why are we here? I think that is always going to be a little bit of a challenge with Jake Paul because he is going to bring a crowd. First and foremost, he gets a seat at the table. As a matter of fact, at the head of the table, he gets to be in the main event because he can bring the crowd. It doesn't take away from why are we here. Let me just explain historically. There used to be a time in life that it was very important to make sure that your village had a very good fighter. Because you used to have real things that you would fight for. They would come and take your land unless you had somebody to fight back. They would come and take your life unless you had somebody within your village or a few people that could band together and fight back. I mean, fighting used to be really important through times in civilization. In what we do in unarmed combat, obviously, with that distinction, it's not as important. So what did somebody do along the way? They came up with a belt. And they threw a belt out there, and they got guys like me to sacrifice their life and put all of their commitment and time into trying to win that damn thing. It worked. It was a great marketing tool, but it worked, and it was very important. And in boxing, and in this match specifically, there's just no belt, and we've even seen the importance of this. You guys will remember Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, right? Everything was going swimmingly, and at the press conference the day before the weigh-ins, they bring out a belt. They called it the money belt. It was $1 million of encrusted diamonds, or whatever the story was. I will tell you, I was behind scenes. Somebody had left the belt. This is a true story. They left the belt at the MGM Grand. I had to go and get people with ESPN and say, hey, by the way, that's the money belt that they're claiming has got encrusted diamonds. That thing was probably worth about $314. That isn't the point. And my point here is not to take and put down what they did there. It's just to prove my point that the marketing as to why we did it is very important. There has to be something up. There's some way to conclude the night. It could be a trophy you hold over your head, a medal you put over the neck, a belt you put around the waist. But it brings conclusion to the evening, and it also tells us beforehand what we're here for. They're fighting for the belt. And that historically is proven to be a very effective thing considering life and land is no longer on the table. All right. One thing when you look at it from this perspective, though, because Paul has a seat at the table, because he has such a big crowd, it still does take away a little bit of what are we here for. And I'd like to hear from Paul, by the way. And I think that all of you I really think this. I think all of you owe him a little bit of a curtsy, a little bit of his due respect, he is claiming that he is good enough to beat these guys, but he is now signing contracts to get in there with them. So it now does come down to, look, if you're going to go and step in there with a world champion, Jake Paul, and you plan to beat him, then that must mean that you plan to be a world champion. And if that is the case, I think he needs to come out and say it. He needs to come out and start talking about contendership, start talking about rankings, start talking about where does he go from here, just to give us a little bit more of a reason. A little bit more of a reason as to why are we doing this, because we don't want to admit what we all know, which is there's a little bit of a circus going on. This is a cash grab. We don't fully want to admit that. We still want to be sportsmen at heart. And it would look as though if Paul's going to tell us, and I think that he's got the right, to answer this question. And I think he has shown not only skill with the Askren fight, but also a sincerity in even taking the T. Wood fight. I think he has shown us that he at least believes what it is he means, but what it is he's saying, what it is he's here for. And is it just to beat big name guys up? It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. I just think we could do more with the Paul experiment and experience. If he comes out and tells us, and I really think he's in a place now because now he's proven, right? The problem child is now a proven child. He's proven he'll do the hard work. He's proven he'll do the media. He's proven he'll make weight. He's proven he'll step in there at an agreed upon time with an agreed upon opponent. He's proven that he will take the baddest free agents out there that he can get in there with him. He really has proven this. You guys got to give him this. You got to give him this. In the world of sportsmanship, we got to give him, man. He's believing what it is he's selling, and nobody showed him wrong yet. So why are we here? What is this for? How far are we planning to go? There has to be some way to cap off the evening, but the evening is a microcosm of the career, right? You got to have March Madness. You got to have the Final Four. You got to fight at Madison Square Garden, whatever it may be, but we have to finish the evening with the trophy, with the medal, with the belt, or with the heartache and sorrow of embarrassment, which is how most fighters end their career. In fact, every fighter that isn't named Lennox Lewis or George St. Pierre, or Khabib Nurmagomedov now gets to be part of that list of three, all finish their career the same way, which is heartbroken and embarrassed in front of the world. But it's also that risk and that vulnerability that keeps this whole machine moving forward, and I don't know what that answer is. I think I could say it for T. Wood. Why are you here? Because the guy just beat up your friend. Damn good answer. It's a damn good answer. This country went to war one time in 2004, and when they asked our president why he went to war, he said on worldwide TV, because the guy I just attacked tried to kill my dad. And you know what? It was a really weird reason to go to war, and everybody stood down and accepted it. We just seem to understand that on a human level. I bring you that example because the mere fact that T. Wood is going to step in to defend his friend, that's a real story. And something happened between these two. I saw it. I just can't remember. I have to go back and look. Something happened between T. Wood and Jake Paul in the locker room the night of the fight. I want to say, was it like the hand wrapping? You have the right in MMA too. I don't think anyone has ever done it. You have the right, per the rules of a commission. Boxing does do it, and I believe the MMA rules are the same. It's just nobody does. You have the right to send in a representative when your opponent's hands get wrapped. Clayton never did it. He didn't care, but he had the right. He could have gone in and watched Anderson rap or Vanderlei rap or John Jones rap. I mean, he had that right, and I know that it exists. And I say that because I believe that is why T. Wood and Paul were even in the same locker room. I think T. Wood was in there to be an observer of the hand wraps, even if I have that wrong. You get the point, and something happened between those two. Is that why we're here? You got to tell me. Someone's got to tell me the story. I'm out here trying to guess it. I don't want to have to guess it. I want to be told, but I also want to be told why this matters. Is this a contendership? Generally in the sport of fighting, use the UFC, but Dana will make this crystal clear to anybody that will listen. This is about one thing: champions and contenders, nothing else. If you ever prove that you cannot be a champion and you fail to be a contender, you will not be here. It sounds very cold, but we now know why we're here. And I don't know I don't know how far his goals are. I could say the same with his brother Logan, who's about to fight Floyd. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. it rubs me the wrong way. Because they haven't told me what it's about and I don't know, I'm left to guess. And the conclusion that I have come to is that Logan would like to do a fight that he has permission to lose. I could be way off, but he hasn't told me, why are we here? Does he truly believe that he's the greatest boxer of all time, which is what Floyd represents? Does he believe he should have been a 6th division world champion? Does he believe he should be 50-0? Does he believe he should be the highest paid boxer of all time? I'll listen to any of these things. Nobody's told me, and I believe as an outsider that he wants to box in a fight that he's allowed to lose. Of course you can lose to Floyd. Floyd's never lost. You've barely done it. De La Hoya couldn't beat him. Mayorga couldn't beat him. Ortiz couldn't beat him. It's Floyd. Nobody could beat him. Conor couldn't beat him. Of course you didn't beat him, but you went out there and tried, and good job. A lot of guys do that. I mean, as much as guys will not take a fight by pricing themselves out, right? That's the new market right now. Hey, I don't want to do a fight. Oh, well, the promoter didn't pay me enough. As much as they will get out of a fight by doing that, they will also accept fights that they are extremely expected to lose because they view it as honorable. They view it as it's okay. They view it as a matter of fact, you get valor for go out there and try it. And to some degree, that's reasonable. And ask yourself, how many of you want to go out there and fight Floyd? Oh, by the way, you have to do it with your shirt off. Oh, by the way, you have to do it in front of the world. I mean, right? It's a tough proposition. In many ways, Logan does have the right to lose. But if you have the right to lose and that's your built-in mechanism, what are we doing here? Bring in somebody who didn't think they were going to lose. Bring in somebody who it did matter to. Do you see my point? I just want them to succeed at this. I want them to come in with this little bit of a storyline. And I think that it's wide open. I will tell you, when old Chael had an interest in this for 20 minutes, the storyline was going to be the winner faces Mike Tyson. And Jake and I are big enough to make that happen. I think that maybe Logan and Floyd should have drawn into the winner takes on Oscar De La Hoya. And Floyd may not want to humble himself to say, I have to go out there and earn the right by going through this guy to get a hold of a guy that I already beat up in his prime. But I think my point still sticks, which is this is about something, and only one of you is going to go on. That's why it's so important that the winner gets and then fill in the blank, because only one of you goes on. One of your journey stops here. And us, the audience, must believe, truly believe, that journey continuing is the most important thing in your life, that you have worked hard, that you have sacrificed, that you have buckled down, and that you will put it all on the line because you are the rightful recipient to get said recognition. I bring it to you because I think we're going to have some fun. Paul's going to go do Paul, and he's going to do it great. But T. Wood's pretty damn good at this too. T. Wood's a bit of an entertainer himself. T. Wood's an All-American. T. Wood's a world champion. T. Wood's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And T. Wood's a friend of Ben Askren. I think every one of those is a meaningful ingredient as to why this fight matters, but they have got to tell us.